And now you're going to die. Now you're going to die.
Never fucking again! I'm done! I'm not taking it anymore! I've had enough!
How you doing, guys? ZDEyE here. Today I wanted to talk about Dark Souls Remastered. Now, it's been already a couple of days since I have made an update regarding the Dark Souls Remastered and how I've been going about with it so far, how many difficulties I also encountered with. So, I want to get a few things out the way firstly and mention a few of the bads as well that I'm noticing. Now, since this is a remastered version of the Dark Souls 1 that was, I believe, released in 2011, my god, you can feel the outdate. Like, basically, it's very outdated. I mean, graphically standpoint, it's actually not that bad as you might even consider to look at it. But when you are trying to play the game, the clunky controls is quite insane. And especially when you're trying to use the SS flask? Yeah, the HP, you know, the health potion. Wow, I still can't remember the name, typical. But anyway, when you try to use that, your character stops no matter what. And you are pretty much like, you can get hit by anything at any moment. And so that was a little bit, oh my god. But that, I mean, that's not, maybe that was a design choice that you need to consider every step that you make, and as well just to make sure that you are away from the enemy who is about to hit you or do whatever to you, and basically you must make sure that you get your health back up. Now, currently as well, once again, you're watching the gameplay and just simply going through. You can see I'm a little bit beefy at the moment because I found one of the best armors, I think anyway, one of the best armors in the game. And of course, I've been, challenging these goddamn knights, like Dark Knights, I think their names or whatever. Basically, they're considered to be very difficult enemies as well. But since I'm already in the end game, they're not that, they're a bit of a pushover, to be honest with you. And anyway, I wanted to mention some of the enemies and variations of bosses. I actually consider this a very big factor that actually there are a lot of the optional bosses as well that you can go through. I have killed a lot of optional bosses. And also I went with the main story, of course, taking it easy, found all the covenants that you can join, and there was so many of them. It was awesome. I loved revisiting those old castles because I've seen them in Dark Souls 3, but then they look a little bit different version from the Dark Souls 1, and now you kind of coming back to these versions of the places, and you get to revisit them as well. And these knights are pretty much still back here with their bloody bows and arrows and stuff. It was pretty damn cool. Now, it's always very cool to see these nostalgia that you are always like, I was playing Dark Souls 3, right? I played it, I had to go at it quite a lot. And then I played Dark Souls Remastered 1, and I'm seeing all these familiar places and the environments and a couple of familiar enemies as well. I did notice that actually a couple of the enemies and the actually are missing. I'm not too sure on what was that design choice made. Now, I wanted to also talk a little quickly about the DLC. I did not play the DLC, and I'm not going to bother. I'll be honest why. It's because I'm a bit of a trophy hunter. I try to go for the trophies, but unfortunately I got stuck on the trophies since I had to upgrade to my maximum level of my weapon, and divine weapon to be more exact. There I have to max it out, but unfortunately the trophy is bloody glitched. Great. So I could not get that trophy. Whatever. Now it goes similarly for DLCs. I'm not really interested. I wanted to play the game, the vanilla game anyway, and finish the story. I'm noticing that From Software is actually doing a lot of similarities. I would not be surprised if Dark Souls 2 would be somewhat of a similar route as Dark Souls 1. Because Dark Souls 3, god, I'm telling you dude, it's so similar to Dark Souls 1 that's like, what was the improvement? Just a little bit of improvements with the graphical standpoints, and as well different environments, maybe sure, and different enemies as well, what enemy types. And okay, and bosses maybe could have gotten some kind of updates and stuff. I kind of did not like that. And also the ending, Jesus, what was that all about? I mean, it's pretty much identical, you know. You can go with the ending, basically burn the fire and continue the cycle of the, you know, Dark Souls or whatever, or you can just simply walk away from this all and you become the Dark Lord, you become the Dark Soul yourself, if that makes sense. And as far as I understood anyway, you know, lore in the Dark Souls is very complicated and it's very cryptic as well. And you have to scratch your head for a moment or so to completely understand it. And in fact, you still wouldn't really understand it. Thankfully, YouTube has a lot of these lore videos, and so I looked them up and wanted to learn a bit more about individual ones. Now, I wanted to also touch on regarding the difficulties that I've had with this game. Now, since there are also some of the story, the progression you had to do, and for example kill the necessities of the bosses as well, like for example you needed to go to the spider lady, I don't know guys, I'm sorry about the names, I'm butchering the names here, but anyway, go to the spider lady. You can go in covenant with her. You cannot talk to her because I don't believe you understand her, maybe, but also then because when you're in a covenant with her, you can go to a different area and actually enter some of the weird dungeons and places, and that was quite damn unique in my personal opinion. Now, talk about dungeons and places. I absolutely despise Crystal Dungeon or Crystal Area, and I really don't like this tree barks of the environment. You see why Dark Souls 3 barely had any of those varieties of such. Basically, my most deaths that I've had a whole thing through for Dark Souls Remastered was me falling and dying. That was my whole bloody experience of most of my deaths that I've gotten from this game. Seriously, not from the boss dying, but from dying from the fall damage. And it's insane. It's just insane. I mean, don't get me wrong. I need you to understand this one factor. When I get hit by an enemy or the enemy kicks me and maybe he pushes me away and I fall, that's understandable. That was my mistake. I put myself in that very big disadvantage of the positioning. That was my mistake. But when there's an environment that you need to specifically go down, and every time you fall, you hit yourself, you obviously take damage. Okay, but sometimes you can just simply push you away because of randomness, and because this always is so unreliable. These tree branks and tree stuff that you need to fall on, it's insane. Now that's a very poor design environment, and I can definitely see why From Software did not continue with these. I don't know about Dark Souls 2, I've never played it, maybe we'll continue on with there as well, but as we transition to Dark Souls 2, my next game that I'm going to be playing will be Dark Souls 2. I'm going to start from start to the finish on PlayStation 4. I'm going to enjoy that throughout, and then I'm going to play Sekiro Shadows Die twice. I'm going to finish all of them as well, and I'm going to wait forever, like the Elden Ring when that comes out, and perhaps hopefully gets that remastered or remake version of the Demon's Souls. I'm definitely gonna play that as well. This is a fantastic game, I'm not gonna deny that. If you guys did not play the remastered, I highly suggest and advise you to at least give it a shot. If you like Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 2, whatever, Bloodborne in fact, this is a good choice of an option to go for. I love the way there's so many of these positionings and like interconnected world. Similarly done with the Dark Souls 2, I can't say Dark Souls 2, but Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 1 Remastered. It does a fantastic, and I love it. I want to mention that I'm kind of creeped out in these areas in the dungeons, like the Cataclysm. I think that's the name. I remember when I first time went in there, because I did not really know where I was supposed to go, so I went that direction. It was a bad choice. It was so dark, I could not see anything. It was insane. And I kept on getting one-shotted, maybe sometimes two-shotted. That's it. I was like rage quitting. I was about like, my god, I'm not gonna play this damn game. And you know what I found out the hard way? You cannot fast travel. I was like, no. I was so annoyed. But then when I got to that castle and I met this beautiful big-breasted woman that you can join with a covenant as well, yeah, basically she gave us an access of warping, basically fast traveling, or I should say teleporting to different bonfires that you've been. But not all of them are accessible though. That was kind of disappointing, to be personally honest. I would rather to see all the bonfires be accessible, but whatever. That's not really a complaint, to be honest with you. That I can understand some ways why they did it. Oh, I love the boss, the wolf with the sword. I love that boss. It was actually very unique. It just popped in my head and I wanted to mention it at least. I think that's all I wanted to mention. Oh yeah, armors. What's up with that? What the fuck? Armors, most of the weapons, all these stuff are all in Dark Souls 3. What the like, that's insane how much Dark Souls 3 takes from Dark Souls 1. It kind of worries me that they're not really innovating into the idea. Bloodborne was a completely new innovation in my personal opinion. New weapons, new armors, new characters. Okay, I'll shut up. Basically, I hope Elden Ring is not gonna go with that route. And I know that Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is quite a new experience as well. So that's good to hear and see. I'm kind of disappointed that Dark Souls 1 is so similar to Dark Souls 3. There's not much newty to it, but without that, the game is fantastic. Easy, fantastic game. If I were to give it a rating, I don't usually give these ratings out, as you guys might know already. I think I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. It's a fantastic game and I love it. I want to experience Dark Souls 2 next. Sekiro Shadows twice, hopefully whenever that Demon's Souls, and then Elden Ring. Alright, well then, once again, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe, see you guys all later, and have a good one.